Hello everyone, my name is Anushka Rathi and I'm a final year MBBS student. So I'm making this video. Title say I think you have guessed the reason of making this video. So I would like to tell everybody that this is a tough journey and studying subjects like community medicine can make it tougher. So for people who study it for the first time, they might get lost. They might feel it is a very boring subject because obviously it is very different from the other subjects that we study in the curriculum of MBBS. But let me just tell you, if you study it in the correct way, with the correct guidance from the correct source, you would really start enjoying the subject. And trust me, you can not only just pass the subject, but you can also pass with flying colors in this subject. So my whole purpose, my whole motive of making this video is to help all of you all out there, because I know that struggling with this subject is, it is very difficult, I know. So I just want to share that what all sources did I use, what and how, what was the way, what was the sequence that I used, I studied with, and to make it easier for you. And I can assure you that if you follow the sequence, if you use the source, if you just at least bare minimum, if you do what I tell you to do, I can assure you that you can pass in community medicine. And if you are studying the subject for the first time, you might take at least 3 months along with revision to completely get over with the subject, because in considering the time that you would take the breaks, because obviously it is a tough subject and initially you might feel boring, but trust me, discipline, consistency is the key and you have to study it with that. So it is the lengthiest subject, I guess, in third year. So let's start with the video. I would first like to tell you that there are a lot of sources available online, and there are a lot of teachers, and all of them, they're giving their best, the best content they're providing, and all of these sources are obviously they're very good, they're very great, but it depends, it is a subjective thing. It depends on person to person whom you feel is the best source for you. I would just tell you what I felt is the best for me and what worked for me, and how I just not only passed the subject but passed it with flying colors. So I would first like to tell you the sequence in which you should study community medicine. Do not pick up any chapter and start studying from anywhere, because you would get lost. I would also tell you how to read Park, but the first and the very foremost thing that I would like to tell you is a disclaimer that I'm giving you. Never start reading from the textbook first. You would understand nothing and you would just start hating the subject like anything. So do not start reading the subject with the textbook. Of course, you have to read the textbook to have a reliable source, but that doesn't mean that you have to start reading from the textbook itself. Firstly, I think there are ample of teachers who are teaching the subject remarkably well. So you can obviously use your source, whatever app you have purchased, whatever source you have. And just in case you have no source, I would like to thank Arpit sir for all the videos that he has put online, and that content is available for free to everybody, so you can also watch it from that. So let's start. So firstly, I would like to tell you that obviously the subject, we are taught the subject from the very first year of MBBS, and nobody takes that pain to study it from the first year itself, because nobody knows what actually the subject is. You only start reading the subject once you are in the third year, and once you start reading the subject, you think that okay, whatever they're teaching, let us study it simultaneously. But no, that is a grave mistake. Why? I would tell you, because by the time you reach third year, they are almost at the end of their syllabus, and what they're teaching you, if you start studying from that, you would hate the subject. So the very first chapter I would tell you that you should study is obviously the concept of health and disease. This is not only the first chapter everybody teaches, But it is also the very first chapter which it comes in the paper one, and it is a very scoring chapter. It is a bit easier also. If you start studying from this, I mean, you can have a hold. So first chapter is the concept of health and disease. So I studied it from Neha ma'am's video, and in case you do not have her videos available, she teaches on prep. If that is not available, I would tell you to whatever source you are having, you can study it from that. See, my job is to tell you what I have studied from, and see, I'm telling you after exploring all the content which is available online, all the teachers that are teaching community medicine, I have explored everything, minded everything, and then I have reached to a conclusion that whom to study it from. And this is obviously a subjective thing that I am telling you from what I felt is the best for me. It might be different for you, so you can, obviously it is up to you which source to use from. If those videos are not available to you, alternate as you can use the YouTube videos which are available. So obviously the first chapter is concept of health and disease. Now in case you want, I should tell you the important also, I would make a separate video for it. Just comment that you want that video, then only I will take that pain of making that video. So yeah, the first chapter is concept of health and disease. The second chapter, see, I would tell you that what happens that because we have just passed second year, what happens is people pick up epidemiology, people pick up communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases. You should not. You would be lost. It is that big, and always make it a point that you have to study communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases at the very end. You should not study it in the starting. And by the time you start reading PSM, you start reading community medicine, you will realize why I have told you this. So that is one point. Second point is, the second chapter that you should read is healthcare of the community. Now I am telling you this because you should have a basic knowledge what is primary healthcare, what is secondary healthcare, how it functions, what are the principles of this primary healthcare and all, because this is a question which is asked in vivas, it is asked in your WLTs, it is asked in even in paper, and almost I think every, whether it would be your sessionals, whether it would be your PU, or whether it be your university, this question from this very chapter would come. So you study this chapter first before studying any other chapter. Now the third chapter, and again you can study this chapter from anywhere. I used Arpit sir's video and his notes to study this chapter. So this is my source that I used. You can use whatever you like. The third one that you should study is screening for disease. The reason I'm telling you to study screening is that it is a short chapter firstly. Second important point is that once you start completing the chapters, you have a sense of accomplishment. You start enjoying that subject then, because you start feeling that okay, you are able to complete those chapters. So I would tell you to do this chapter first, that is screening for disease. And again I told you I used Arpit sir's video for this and his notes. You can choose any other alternator that works for you. What I used, I'm telling you that. The fourth chapter that I would tell you to study is demographic and family planning. Very, very important chapter. They would definitely ask you demography, they would definitely ask you family planning, the types of family. It is a very commonly asked questions in Viva. See, when you're studying a subject, make it a point that you are also preparing for your Vivas, because what happens when the practical exams come, we do not separately have the time to prepare for the Viva. So at that point, it is that previous knowledge that comes into play. So it is very important that when you study the chapters, you study it in a way that what is important from Viva, you also know that. Okay, if you want, again I can make a separate video, just comment down, I would help you guys, I'm more than ready to do that. So the fourth chapter is demographic and family planning. You can study it from anywhere. I would like to tell you that I studied it from Arpit sir's videos and his notes first, and then I used Neha Ninja's ma'am source also. So you can use either of them, both are equally good. Then the fifth chapter that I would tell you to study is, I mean, it has to be principles of epidemiology and epidemiological methods. See, this chapter is really big, and when you start studying it you would get confused because there are a lot of studies. What is case control study, what is cohort study? But you know, the point that I'm telling you to read it first is because you at least have to read it twice or thrice to get a hold on this chapter, because this chapter is very important from the point of view that it makes a it holds a lot of marks in your university exam. Firstly, examiners love to ask it in viva, and it also has a role to play in biostats, which is asked in practical. So I would like to tell you that sequence that I'm telling you, please do follow that sequence. I think I can guarantee you would get the results and you would also start enjoying the subject. So read epidemiology. I would, I mean, any day and every day recommended to read it from Neha ma'am. She has taught it excellently, remarkably well. Please go and study it from her. In case if you're unable to do that, you can use the source that you have, but do study epidemiology and complete it. And mind it, I'm telling you again, you have to read the chapter 2 to 3 times to actually get a hold on that chapter. And see, when I'm telling you these chapters, you also, you know, in case if you have the time, in case you can do it, you can practice the Q bank simultaneously. It would just give you an idea about the questions, and it would also help you to retain that knowledge, that whatever you have studied from the video. So just passively watching videos would also not help. Okay, active recall is very important. Once you have watched the videos, it is very important that you revise it the next day, a week after, a month after, then only it would help you. After that, I would recommend you to study certain chapters which are very important, but also there are some sort of, you know, obviously I would tell that these are boring chapters, you might not feel good while studying them, but they hold a very important, you know, I mean, they are very scoring chapters. Once you study it, you would get well. So I would tell you to study hospital waste management. See, hospital waste management you have already studied in micro. It is just a bit of knowledge which is added here, otherwise it is all same. Again, when you complete the chapter, you will have a sense of accomplishment. So you can directly read it from the textbook of Park, or any other source which you're using. You can use anybody's videos or anybody's notes, because hospital waste management, or in case if you have no source, you can study it from your textbook of microbiology, Apurva Shastri and Sandhya Bhatt, their textbook, because even if you study that much and if you write that much in exam, you would score well. Because hospital waste management is one topic which is asked in every exam, in every viva, because it is that important. So you study that. After hospital waste management, I would tell you to study occupational health. The point that I'm telling you to study occupational health is because in paper 2 it is a very important chapter, and you know, you have to study it. There's no way out. So occupational health, I would again recommend. I studied it from Arpit sir's video. You can use any other source. So the reason I'm telling you the source that I used is that you don't have to search that, okay, ki when before you start studying, ki from whom to read what. Okay, so I'm just trying to help you. Obviously you can choose whatever works for you. I'm just telling you that, you know, आपका टाइम वेस्ट ना हो is the reason I'm telling you. You can obviously read it from anywhere that you like. After occupational health, I would tell you to study environment and health, because see, I know environment and health is a, you know, it is a pretty boring chapter when you start studying it. The you know, slow sand filters, rapid sand filters, the criteria for housing and all of this that comes here, the sanitation and all part. See, it is very important, because what happens that if you do not study it, this chapter is going to be a problem for you in every viva that you give, because The things that are mentioned in this chapter, like the housing criteria and all. So when you are when the examiner would ask you about the family that you have adopted, so I mean, all of us know that how much we know about the family. So if you know, that is good, but if you do not know, the next question would be, okay, what was, how was their house like, whether it had a separate kitchen or not. So what is the housing criteria, what is in the urban areas, what is it in the rural areas. Okay, the next question they would come from there would be about, tell me about the slow sand, the rapid sand filters, tell me about the how many air change levels should be there in the room, and anomaly and all. So you can answer all these questions only if you know, and you would know only if you study. So it is very important to study environment and health. That is my own whole point of telling you this. So environment and health, again, Arpit's video, I would recommend you to study from that. Alternate source is always your choice. After that, I would tell you to study nutrition and health. So nutrition and health is a very important chapter. Topics like balanced diet and all of such topics, they are again frequently asked. You must know about them. So nutrition and health, again, you can use Arpit's video, any other source that you can like, you can use that. Then after that, I would tell you to study non-communicable diseases, epidemiology of chronic non-communicable diseases and conditions. The reason I'm telling you to study it, because I told you, of course, to study it at the end, but what happens is that we know that there is a shift from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases in our era. So everybody is suffering from hypertension, everybody is suffering from diabetes, the risk of cancers is rapidly increasing. And the reason, this would be asked in exams. So not every chapter that you have to study, but especially what you have to study is hypertension, stroke. In case you can study rheumatic heart disease and cancers, well and good. If you cannot, skip it. Diabetes is very, very important. You must know what is syndrome X. You can study this all directly from the textbook of PSM. Okay, or you can use Arpit's video, or whatever you like, you can use that. Then the program for blindness, and that is National Program for Blindness and Visual Impairment, and this accidents and injuries, it is very frequently asked in Viva. Just in case you get time, you can study it. So this is very important. Then the next chapter that you should study for is communication for health education, health planning and management. Now these two chapters are a bit boring and they're more of informative stuff, factual based, but you have to study them again because they are asked in exams. You can study it from the Athanasia ma'am, or you can study it from Arpit's video. Both of them are equally good, equally well works. Now I think you have completed all the major chapters till now. Now this chapter, which forms, I think, a major chunk of paper 2, which is preventive medicine in obstetrics, pediatrics and geriatrics. So this OBS, pedia and this chapter, a part of this, which should also help you in your final year, you have to study this. Trust me, it is a very big chapter, but once you start studying it, you would also enjoy it because it is a bit different from the rest of the community medicine, and also it is a good chapter. Okay, you must know what is a high risk pregnancy, you must know about the Apgar scoring, all of this. This would also help you later in final year, as I said, but you should read it. It is a very good chapter, and you can read it from anywhere. I would recommend you to read it from Arpit's video and notes. Then after that, this genetics and health, mental health, tribal health in India, the sustainable development goals, all of these chapters, these are very, very small chapters, and you can read it from Arpit sir, or you can read it from any source. You can read it from textbook also. So always read these chapters at the last, because they would be asked for 2 marks, 5 marks. In case you do not want to miss those marks, please go study them and then go to your exam. Otherwise, you can always skip them. Now, addressing the elephant in the room is epidemiology of communicable diseases and the healthcare programs. Always study it at the last. You know, uh, difficult to study, difficult to complete, difficult to retain. So I would tell you, read all of it. The healthcare programs, especially from Nandini ma'am, she has taught it absolutely well. I mean, oh my god, I just fell in love with her when I saw those videos. Please study it from her, and also the epidemiology of communicable diseases, what all she has taught. Study them, and in case some of the diseases are missed, so just make sure that you do not also read them because they are not important, they would never be asked. Just read whatever she has taught. In case, you can also skip reading, the healthcare programs and the epidemiology of communicable diseases from the textbook, because it is giving very vast. All of that is not required. At least I'm telling you what I have done. If you have the, you know if you have that energy to read it from the book, obviously you can go and do that, but it is absolutely not required. And it is, in my, because I tried reading it, and according to me it is a waste of time. She has taught health programs excellently well. Once you study her notes, you go through it, you're going to score well if any question from the healthcare programs turn up. Do not study it from the book. You would just get puzzled up, lost. It is such a mess which is given in the book, and you would not understand a single word, mind it. And epidemiology of communicable diseases, as I told you, again, what you know is well enough. You do not have to get extra knowledge about it, because firstly, not a lot of questions are asked from communicable diseases, and whatever has been taught by her is sufficient enough. So I think I've completed most of the chapters. In case I've missed any, write it in the comments down. I would tell you the source that I studied from. In case you want importance from the chapter, I would also like to share it with you. Just comment down below. Any other help that you need, any other topic that you would want me to make a video on, please comment down. If you like this video, if you think something should be added, something more that I should have shared about, so please write it in the comments below. And obviously I would like to tell you at the end, like, share and subscribe. And I hope you are able to study PSM in the sequence that I tell you, and you score very good. So all the best, and get over with PSM.